Today we're going to demonstrate how to install the window lock. What I have here is a double hung window on a bench. Make sure the windows are closed. I've got my alignment tool. I'm going to take one base and attach it to the alignment tool, and then take the other base and attach it to the alignment tool. I'm going to set the alignment tool in the window area where I want to put the base, where I want to put the window lock. Now you can set this off to the side if you want. I'm putting it somewhere where it's visible so that we can see where it is in the window. So first mark the first holes on the base, then mark the second hole, do the same thing on the top, the first hole, and mark the second hole. Then let's take the base off, the alignment tool. We're going to grab a drill with a 3/32 inch drill bit. We're going to drill in a small pilot hole in the window where we marked it. So we got our first one done, our second one done on the bottom, and then do the top two on the upper of the frame. We'll do a little bit of a close-up. Here we're drilling the top two on the frame, so you can see it as a little bit of a close-up. Now what we need to do is install the bases. We're going to change our drill bit so we can put in our screwdriver, tighten it down, take the bases off the alignment tool, grab two wood screws, put the first one in there, find the pilot hole, just slightly start the first hole, leave it loose so we can get our second screw in place. We'll tighten down the second screw, and then we'll go back and tighten down the first screw and test to make sure it's tight. There it is. We'll do the same thing for the upper base. So we'll put in our first screw just a little bit so that we can hold it in place. We're not going to tighten it down. Grab our second screw, the top one, place that one in this place, tighten it up, and as we're doing this, we're going to also tighten up the first one and then check it to make sure that it's in place. Again, we'll do a close-up. We'll put in our first screw, just kind of give us a pilot, and then we'll do our second screw in those locations, tightening down the second screw, and then tightening down the first screw, and then checking it to make sure it's tight. And that's the installation process. That's all that's required to install it. We'll slide the window up to see if it matches. It does. Now we'll put on our window lock. This is the adjustable window lock. So we're going to slide on the first one and close the door. Then slide on the second base and close that door. Now you know we can have full range of opening and closing the door, or a window. So here we've put it into the first slot, we've locked it. Now we adjust it down to the second slot and it's locked. This gives us a 4-inch gap down at the bottom, which is the recommended maximum height for a window if you have small children in the room. They won't be able to open it or unlock it and open it even further. If you want a little bit more room or ventilation, you can have it for ventilation. Or if you simply want to do it at night and it's a cold night but you want to have a little bit of airflow in there, we got a setting here for at 1 inch. And of course, if you want to close the window all the way, then you can lock it with your hasp lock or other locks that are on there if you want to. Take it off, you simply remove the doors and slide it off the bases. That's the window lock. But we have a problem on double hung windows where the back window can also open. But if they open up the back window, then they have access to the window lock. So to prevent that, we also made a lock for this secondary window or the outer window. This one's a little more difficult to install. It does require a little bit of alignment. So we're going to put both pieces in place, and then we're going to mark where the plate goes. Making sure we got clearance there so we can open the plate. I'm going to put in our first hole there. I'm going to mark our second hole. Remove both pieces. We'll drill our pilot holes, again using a 3/32 inch drill bit. We'll mark our pilot hole. There's our first one. And moving over and putting our second one in place. We'll change the bit. We got a screwdriver tip, and we'll install the latch plate. First starting the first screw and then getting the second screw in place, just to help make sure that it's completely lined up. We'll zap that up a little bit, and then we'll tighten down the first one a little bit more, and then fully tighten and checking to make sure they're both fully up. That's our latch plate. Now here is the lock. This is the mechanism that actually locks the window, and it fits on the side of the window, or it can fit on the top of a side sliding window. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this inside that latch plate. But we also need to make a little bit more room for it so that when the latch plate actually closes on top of it, there's going to be a little bit of a gap there. So we're going to lift it up just slightly to mark our first hole. Now we only have access to our first hole here. So we're going to take that back out, take out our plate, our base, slide the window down a little bit, put our base back in there where we marked our first hole, and then we can mark our second hole. And then again, we're going to drill our holes with our pilot drill, a 3/32 inch drill bit, just slightly going into the wood, just to give us a little bit of a start for both of those holes. Now these are done on wood, but it can be done also on vinyl. We'll start our first hole, and then we'll put in our screw into our second hole here. We'll tighten that one down, and then we'll tighten down the first one. And now that lock is installed. Check it to make sure it's tight. And all we have to do now is just slide the window up. Since it's not an installed window, it's kind of difficult. We'll slide the window up. We'll hear a little bit of click sound, and that way we know it's locked. So all we do is lift it back up a little bit, pull out the tab, and slide the window down, and now it's unlocked. And then again, just to close it, slide it right back up, and it's locked again. And that's the secondary lock.